Hello everyone, Namaste, and this is Ashwini. I welcome you all to another episode of Growth Fit interview series and brought to you by CustomFit.ai. So today we are here with Arun Pillai. It's a great pleasure for me to that him joining us here. He is the Senior Vice President, Enterprise Customers and Global Reseller Channel at Lake B2B. So I think it is going to be a really, really amazing and interesting session to know about and digging into B2B data sets and data-driven marketing application, inbound, outbound traffic generation. So without wasting any time, I will definitely dive into the session, and I welcome Arun Pillai, and thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
So Arun, I just wanted to know about nobody dreams about being into sales or marketing when they are into college or even before that. So I'm just curious about your journey and how you started and what are the points that the thought process of yours before diving into this and how you took it forward to reach to this.
Sure. So to answer that, see, there's two elements that encouraged me into this profession. One is professionally what we get to learn. I'll get to that in a second. I think personally, I think a lot of us today, Gen Zs and Gen X and the millennials, we love to travel, right? Nothing better than a profession that lets you hop countries, hop lanes quite often. So that was one of the intriguing part initially when I took on this journey. It's about a decade now. So I finished my engineering. I went into services selection board in India. So I was one of the top 7 finalists across the country. Then
Wow.
conferenced out from the mechanized artillery division for services selection board Bhopal. And then the journey started here. I was a part of a startup for a little stint before I took on this role. And see, what intrigues me even today after 10 years is every day we get to talk to new customers, new businesses, different perspective. So the job is never monotonous, right? Every business that we talk to, every business that we aspire to grow with them is entirely different from the previous business that we engage with. Although we predominantly deal with healthcare, IT, every business brings its own uniqueness and challenges, and that kind of keeps us going. I would say these two elements basically are something that kept me going, I think, for about 10 years now.
That sounds interesting. And how you started with Lake B2B, like what all things you are into Lake B2B into, and what all problems you solve. And I came across your website that you provide a lot of services, and you really uh, deep dive into the solution for your customer, which it seems on your website. So, how is your journey start? How has your journey started with this? What all experiences and what all things are Lake B2B into?
So my journey with Lake B2B started about 10 years ago. Started off with one of the base roles, specifically helping clients in North America. And today, I handle teams across Singapore, Japan, Australia, Dubai, India, and North America. So roughly about 3,000 people strong today we are. So, like I said, what kept us going over the last decade is the growth that we've been able to drive every customer of ours into, and eventually we're growing with them, right? So Lake B2B, we are a subsidiary of Champions Group. Now Champions Group, we have about 20 different companies under our portfolio. We are into hospitality, healthcare, we're into real estate, we're into marketing, martech, data-driven marketing, and so on. So Lake B2B is predominantly the martech side of our business. Over the last 5 years, we've been acquiring a lot of data companies as well into our portfolio. But yeah, the core goal for us, what we do in Lake B2B is on one side, we sit on the largest data set that you could think of in a B2B space, roughly about 430 million global business executives file. So the most simplest engagement is customers come to us, they say, you know what, I'm interested in reaching out companies that are using Salesforce as their CRM. I want to talk to CRM executives, IT managers. Can you put together a data set for us? Right? Now we license the data various ways. We have portals, we have offline ways, we push data into their existing CRMs, marketing automation systems, and so on. But beyond that, what we also do is we understand the goals and objectives behind the data for us. Are they acquiring the data for marketing, lead generation, sales, product promotions, webinars, whatever they are, right? And that's where the agency side of our business kick in. We lay out a plan, we execute that for them. Essentially, we drive results and not just offer them data, right? We also have, 4,000 seat offshore building in Bangalore here. We are actually supporting over 100 clients in North America today with teams sitting in Bangalore, whether it's financial teams, accounting teams, marketing leaders, or sales teams. So with the pandemic, a lot of companies that we see are actually kicking into the remote infrastructure. So why have a team in the North America that probably costs more, but have a cost arbitrage and have a team and better resources here in India? That's something that we offer as well.
That's completely true. We in CustomFit also have started with the remote infrastructure, and we are also looking forward to like take it really in a result-driven uh, fundamental. So coming to something related to data. So as you said, you have a master file of 430 million professionals. So you have also data enrichment and growth solutions both in line with for your customers. So how do you ensure that the data you provide your clients get a scalable convergence among them?
So let me quickly bring up my screen as well as we speak. So see, basically, data is something that needs to drive results, right? So in our world, we have broken the data into further fragments and clusters, like contact level intelligence, firmographic intelligence, BI, and AI. So what I mean is, data in its raw form is probably not the true potential of the data, right? So as we all know, data decays roughly at 3 to 6% a month, maybe a little more with the pandemic and job changes. So it's really important for us as a data provider, as well as our customers as marketers, to first and foremost manage their data and keep it clean, right? So to avoid spending dollars on data that's non-existent. So that's where it starts in terms of data enrichment and also augmenting a lot of other intelligence into the data, right? So whether it's the hardware, software the companies are running on, the IT spends, artificial intelligence and behavioral patterns that we are able to drive today based on predictive marketing systems that we have in house and so on, right? So a lot of data points to be added into a persona. So if Arun is an individual, what is he between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? So as a professional, and what is he beyond that? After 5 p.m., what is he like a consumer? The whole objective here is to make it a win-win for the marketers as well as the data subjects. The marketers today have the ability to pinpoint and with precision their messaging and the offers, kind of hyper personalize their content to the contacts, as well as the data subjects today are in a position to receive just what they want to see, right? Last 5 years, we probably were in information abundance kind of an environment. So not necessarily every email that we received is something that we wanted to see. But having predictive marketing enables marketers to just pinpoint on audience that are most likely to respond to their offers, and likewise make the data subjects a lot more convenient with having the ability to just receive the ones that they would like to.
I see from your presentation that it is so deep. From start to end, you have segregated. Uh, you have a hierarchy, and you have an organizational structure where when to do what, and what uh, with what you should one should go further. And this is for everyone in your team.
That's right. So, like I said, we believe in, efficiency, right? So the whole purpose of technology, if you look at whether it is the MarTech space or any other technology that we depend on today, um, it's not really to replace humans or human intelligence. It is to make sure that we bring in that efficiency into our processes and systems. And that is what we ought to do in the marketing space. All that we put together in terms of technologies to make sure that we bring in that efficiency and optimization into the marketer's funnel.
So quickly, I would like to share about us, our team too. Like we are into we just started with our uh, strategy, but the efficiency is really important when it comes to result, and we try to make it as a success story for our clients. So they get results as per their goals or maybe beyond that. uh, with the conversion rate optimization and understanding firmographics, understanding your visitor in detail, and when you understand them, and you can communicate with them, and we can communicate with our clients, visitors, without even connecting with them through their websites. Sorry, Arun, you were sharing something.
No, no, absolutely. To add to your point, see, when Ashwin first contacted me, one of the things that really interested and intrigued me is the ability that you guys bring to the table today. Right? Maybe an offline discussion that I'll have with Ashwin later on how we can enable. We have about 6,000 customers today. I'm sure quite a lot of them would need what you're offering, right? But in today's world, having the ability to, we call this anonymous to known. So the moment you know who's visiting your website, you could do magic with your marketing, right? So the power of anonymous to known and resolving that identity or identity resolution program that you're offering today is really something that every marketer need to have, right? Um, it's like gone are the days of spraying and praying. We used to push our content to everybody and anybody without hyper personalization. But with your product today, what Custom Fit offers, bringing that element of knowing who are visiting your website and then having the ability to custom tune your content to them and decide a user journey afterwards is something that really interests a lot of marketers.
Yeah. And sorry, did I interrupt you with the slide?
No, no, no. We're good with that. So a little more about beyond data enrichment, what happens really with the marketer's funnel, right? Now, if you look at, I told you, we have customers coming to us for data for various reasons. It could be for product promotion, it could be for sales and lead generation, it could be for brand awareness programs, webinars, surveys, quite a lot of things. But really, what's important is, are we able to connect with our audience across their devices, starting with their desktops, laptops, iPads, mobile phones, and we even have the option today to reach our audience on their smartwatches, right? Now, how do we do that is something that I would kind of quickly walk you through the next few slides. I hope it helps all the other marketers that are viewing your channel, right? Um,
Definitely.
so email has been a predominant channel for the last 2 decades. Email continues to lead. The whole reason a lot of marketers are connecting with a lot of their audience today on email is that uh, two-directional conversation capability that it brings, right? Um, so we start our programs with email as well. So let's hypothetically say we are putting together let's roughly about 100,000 people as the total addressable market for our clients. We obviously start off with email, introducing the brand, differentiating between our clients versus their competition. Why should they consider them and all of that, right? Essentially build a content journey and a user journey. And then what we also do is we tie that email program into the cross-device and cross-channel capabilities using some of the basic, you know, um, systems that we have at disposal, right? So LinkedIn emails, LinkedIn messages, LinkedIn ads, Google display ads, programmatic ads, Facebook to some extent, if need be, and so on. Now, how do we do that? Is again, in terms of email, we encourage our customers to not just push content which is sales heavy. Um, Understand that when we start off with a data set, it's essentially cold prospects, right? It's really important for us to drive our audience through our brand and the value that we are trying to offer as a brand, right? So start off with customer education and then get into promotion and then get into the call to action, right? So I always say to my team internally here that we don't have to sell to a customer that doesn't need what we are offering, but we just have to make sure that if a customer needs what we're offering, it should be us who's serving them and not our competitors. And so true with all our clients as well. Now, what that means is it's really important that we understand the requirements of our customers and drive them through a journey that encourages them to understand what we are offering. So moving them from cold prospect to informed audience through the content funnel that we build. And then while we do the email campaigns, we have the ability to drop cookies. So based on cookies, you could remarket to your audience, match their unique identifiers like email against LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Display Network. Plan a remarketing on these channels as well is something that we encourage. Again, some of these are stuff that every marketer today can pretty much do in-house. Essentially make sure that while you don't have a cookie match, you leverage channels like Google Display Network or LinkedIn or Facebook. Make sure that you have a way to get into their mobile phones, iPads, and their smartwatches, right? Um, and then the intent behind the program is something very important as well. So you need to be able to differentiate your audience. The accounts that we already are dealing with. The personas that are lookalike of our top 20% profitable customer base versus the good to have clients, right? So it starts with profiling the audience by size of the company, by type of the company, the personas, titles, and so on. But what's really important after that is depending on tools like CustomFit. In case of a web visitor, it's really important for us to know who's visiting and what's happening in the user journey. And likewise, the outbound marketing, like email campaigns or social and retargeting that we do, it's really important that not just set up these campaigns, but drive the data back from these campaigns. Who's opening and clicking, what point, what channels, what devices, what time of the day, what day of the week, what type of content are they consuming a lot? Is it text-based, HTML-based, image-based, video-based? Based on that, we have the ability today to draw an artificial intelligence and have a predictive marketing in place, right? So what that really means is we don't have to spend marketing dollars on contacts that are 90% active on email, right? So we can completely optimize the ad spends beyond email on channels like Google Display or LinkedIn. And likewise, if there are contacts that are responsive or inactive on email, the only way you can get them into your sales funnel is reaching out to them on devices and channels that they're active on. You really need to step up your marketing budgets on channels that they're active on and make sure that you engage with them where your competitors are not engaging, right? So to kind of tie this back to one of your earlier questions with regards to total addressable market, see what happens in today's world is we are living in a world of data abundance, right? So accessing the first 40% of the total addressable market is pretty easy for any marketer today. Now, Diamond doesn't off-the-shelf data providers that offer data. But here's the key. If 100,000 contacts is my total addressable market, there's no point in just reaching out to the first 40,000. Pretty sure that, like me, all of my competition is doing the same with off-the-shelf data providers, right? So what we bring to the table is a custom data environment. So we put together a 12, 24 months plan. We, you know, help our clients to get incremental data over this period. So from 40% of the total addressable market, how can we get them to 80, 85% reach over the next 12, 24 months? One is you're reaching the audience that your competition is not in terms of the incremental volume. What that means is that is the audience that is not being bombarded with a lot of solicitation emails or content, right? So naturally, the response and engagement from such audience is much higher than the first 40%. Uh, so yeah, that's something that I encourage all the marketers to do as well. So to start with a robust data set, understand your audience, evaluate your audience, and then make sure that you put together a content journey for them and leverage all the channels that you have at your disposal to ensure you're engaging with your audience across their devices and make sure that they're genuinely aware of you as a brand. And then you give them the opportunity to reach back if they have a need for what you're offering.
Okay, and what are the sorry, what are the channels would you suggest to uh, reach out to them? Like, as you said, Facebook, rather than Facebook and LinkedIn, or maybe email. So if these channels are not working, then what what would be the channels some fellow marketer can think about and go to that extent to reach out to them?
Sure. So in terms of channels, like I said, in the most cost-effective channel is email. Email will still rule. But what's important is how well do we understand our audience and what are we sending them in terms of content, right? Is our content optimized to the devices that our users are on? Is our content optimized to the journey that our customers are on, right? So if we have 100,000 audience that we believe is our core target market, are we sending the same content to each one of them? Are we treating like one size fits all? Or do we have any personalization at all, right? So hyper personalization is the key. Something like what CustomFit offers as well. The ability to understand your audience brings the ability to hyper personalize your content from there on, right?
Yes.
Um, so with that, we recommend to couple up, um, LinkedIn if you're dealing with, director and above kind of title. Along with LinkedIn, you could try Facebook if your target audience is manager and below level audience. Google Display Network for sure. Google today offers, quite a few programs to have best of the impressions and switch your ads between impressions and so on. Video-based ads is something that we recommend through YouTube and other channels and websites as well. If you go after account-based marketing, if you know who your audience are and you know what you want from them, videos make wonders. So we also recommend video-based marketing as well. And also have a team that can actually call up and pre-qualify the audience before the sales team takes in, right? So essentially what's happening with these programs is, a marketer is nurturing a group of audience, moving them to informed audience, and in the process they might generate quite a lot of inquiries, right? Before the sales team kicks in and goes really aggressive with sales offers, in today's world, what's really important is the customer is given a chance to express their concerns and the goals that they are trying to achieve with a specific brand, right? So having that in between layer of callers that can actually pre-qualify the audience makes it a win-win for the marketer as well as for the data subjects. And one other thing that I recommend highly is also know your competition, right? So this is something that we do for all our clients. Now, I'm not showing who the clients are, but The point here is before even you plan your campaigns, it's important to know the data. It's important to know who your audience are. It's also important to know who you're competing against, right? Here is a quick example of what we do much before we plan the campaigns, right? So first, look at how good, bad, and ugly your clients are doing, and then compare that with your competition. Now, as you see here, when most of the times when you see that our competition has better visits, high conversion, it's not an area of panic. What that means is we really have a large total addressable market that we can tap into, right? So if we have a plan that can tap into at least 5-10% of the traffic that we're losing to our competitors today, what would that mean in terms of revenue, right? And what can we do based on that? So it's looking at the good of the competition. What are all the areas that are doing really good? Not to copy them or mirror them, but to kind of emulate them and strengthen that learning curve um, in those areas. And also understanding the gray areas of the competition, right? So that's where we can really tap in and make sure that we create a better customer experience where a competition is failing, right? So understand your competition as well, their strengths and weaknesses, so you can position yourselves better. And the whole objective here is to make sure, in the end, the customers, the data subjects have a better experience, whether it is from us or from our competition. It's making that their journey is seamless, as well as we are optimizing our campaigns, we are optimizing our spends to drive the best results possible.
So, with this data, sorry, not the data, with this detailed data, I must say you must be having, you can help them out with what is the current situation, and with the competition, how can you help them, your clients, with the product positioning in the market?
Sure. So with the audit, what we are basically doing here is understanding the fit, right? What are we doing better than our competition, and what are the areas our competition is doing better than us, right? From website audit to social audit, each of the social channels. And then comes in what can we do about it, right? So the inbound channels that we recommend are SEO, content, social, webinars, virtual events, and so on. And the outbound is something PPC and so on, right? Again, we emphasize a lot on user journey and content. I'm just giving you one quick example of how can you really optimize SEO, right? So having tools like CustomFed, when you have the ability to understand your audience, what can you do next, right? So the three core pillars of a good SEO or a content plan is a user plan is content, link building, and how can you leverage your website as lead generation channel. So for any brand today, the face of the brand is website. Irrespective of are we doing email campaigns, social campaigns, retargeting, what's really happening? We're driving people back into website, right? Every call to action that we embed is going to get people back onto our websites. So when the traffic is coming in, what you're offering at CustomFit is the ability to understand the user behind it. And what happens next is the first and foremost thing is content. So when I say content, one at a user level, so let's assume a scenario now, a company XYZ is trying to offer, network, a network security system, as well as, let's say, they also offer, software security systems, right? So two different products, two different audience, but the core decision makers in any organization could be the IT guys that would decide should they whatever network security systems should they invest into, or the software security systems, right? However, let's say they are doing two parallel email campaigns trying to get clients for both of these programs. Now, when somebody clicks on their emailer, should they drive them back to their homepage that just talks about their brand, or should they drive them to the specific page that talks further about the network security program or the software security program? That's really important, right? Otherwise, there's a break in the user journey. So what that means is content from a level of how we hyper personalizing the content to the need of our customer, And what type of content? Are we just showing them text, images, graphs, infographics? How easy it is for our customers to consume the content on our website, right? And also, from a crawler perspective, is Google able to crawl the content on a web page and index us from a SEO ranking perspective, right? So it's a mix of both, from a user journey as well as from a crawler's perspective, how easy the content is consumable on our web pages, right? The next piece is ultimately what we need is to push our audience down that sales funnel, right? So do we have content that fits into each stage of the funnel? Do we only have content that's top of the funnel? Do we have content that is middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel? Again, this ties back to what you're offering, right? So once we understand the user behind the website, um, then comes in the ability to understand what has been the journey so far. This particular user that has visited our website now, has he or she consumed the previous engagements or content from our campaigns? If so, there's no need for us to push them to the homepage, right? So we can directly drive them to the pricing. We can directly drive them to case studies and testimonials, and essentially the middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel kind of content. Or if the users are first time visitors, we really need to drive them to a journey before we get them to the pricing or testimonials kind of a web pages. So that's something that we recommend as well. And then obviously, link building strategy, backlinks. It's really important for any business today to have backlinks from credible websites. Typically, websites with over 35 hours, their domain authority is pretty good. A lot of ways to have that backlinks today, from guest bloggings to business listings to video distributions to domain authority, relevance stuff, right? So that's something that we recommend all the marketers. And once you have so much of work put into understanding your data, your audience, your competition, now a little bit of strategy from a content perspective, how do you really go about uh, executing a program, right? So again, it starts with deep dive audit about what we are doing good in terms of our SEO and what are the gray areas, what is competition doing, then come up with keywords, then spray those keywords on your website. That's what is on-page optimization. Then create different forms of content for the same topic, right? So videos, images, text, HTMLs, infographics, and so on, and pretty much go about, making sure your audience have enough content, irrespective of what level of user journey or where in the funnel they are, and then naturally allowing them to descend into that sales funnel and be qualified leads for you.
I can totally sync this with our journey, Arun. Like when Ashwin and Shoaib started, they came up with the complete problem statement, what you have explained now. So this was a problem statement, that understanding your visitor and hyper personalizing them, hyper personalizing your web pages with the, so that this user can think that this person, this website is understanding me, and it is engaging with me. So suppose if we can give the uh, suppose a ed tech company, and if they have reviews, if someone is sitting on in Bangalore, and they have reviews from some other part of the world, so from Singapore, if we showcase them with that reviews, but they cannot be engaged, and they cannot think like this is, why would they go ahead with some uh, tutor review from Singapore? So why not with the Bangalore person with the same relevant, showcasing them this relevant sector? If somebody is taking a course of machine learning, so showing them respective reviews, somebody who has done the same course and from the same place, so they can quickly engage and click on the respective button what they want. So that was just an example, but yeah, it's a problem statement, and it's a need that we came up with. and we took up that as a problem and to solve this kind of problem with the our way.
No, absolutely. See, I can relate with that. Like I said, we have about 6,000 customers today. And this one problem is pretty much common across 90% of our clients. So every time we deal with customers, there's different problem areas, but there are few problems that are pretty much common to any marketer. One of it is this, knowing who your audience are. The moment you have that identity resolution as a solution, or um, you know anonymous to known solution that you're offering today, there's a lot marketers can do, right? From hyper personalization to better customer experience to better lead experience to improved lead journey, making sure that there's no break in the lead journey, making sure that genuinely you're offering enough quality content for your prospects to understand you as a brand much better, rather than coming through as a company that's pushy with sales content. There's a lot that you could do the moment you start to understand who your audience are, and who essentially, traffic is just a number, right? The moment you put a face behind that traffic and you understand who the personas are, there's a lot that you could do behind that.
Yes. So I can totally relate with that. Um, my next question comes with the tools, how is about the tools that you use to stitch all this data. So you must be having a lot of CRMs connected to each other to gather this master file. So how do you really stitch this data?
So I think the good uh, and could be the bad as an organization is uh, we're really heavy on resources. So we have our own software development team for the last 2 decades. So we have developed a lot of proprietary softwares in-house, whether it's the marketing automation systems or the AI and predictive marketing systems and engines that we have developed. So we, to a large extent, rely on those systems. For one, um, see, the incremental data that we bring to the table for our clients, it's not flooded in the market, and we want to keep it that way. The whole purpose of having the best responsive from a data set is by keeping it close net, right? But we also depend on a lot of tools such as CustomFit. We partner with them for the programs, and we tie that into our campaign program, right? So the we are always open to tools such as yours that helps us identify the audience and learn about the audience. So essentially, those are the tools that we depend on. You know, to a large extent, also we depend on the Google Display Network or the LinkedIn network and so on from a distribution perspective. But from a data compilation and enrichment perspective, a lot to do with the proprietary systems and engines. But at the same time, we have clients that are running on Marketo, Eloqua. We see that more often than not, the customers are today running on Salesforce in terms of their CRM and so on, right? So what's really important, I think, for anybody like us today is to integrate with each one of them. So we are compatible as well. In terms of if our clients are already running on certain systems, we have the ability today to plug and play into their systems and build the AI engines and develop that predictive marketing with time onto their engines as well.
Uh, we are running out of time, but I want to understand from you, like, if you are, suppose, 10 years back, so what is that one thing you would like to give as an advice to uh, Arun 10 years back, our fellow marketers?
See, I think maybe I'm too optimistic, but I completely love the journey the last 10 years, right? But maybe one advice that I would give myself 10 years ago is in today's world, it's really important for leaders to be hands-on guys. It's important for us, to some extent, I could be a little lucky with my professional background in terms of coding and stuff, but even otherwise, marketers today, it's really important for us to not really to sit and execute the programs, but to be really hands-on to understand the data that's being generated from our programs, right? So whether it is GA or whether it's AI or BI or ML, really important for us to be involved in that. So maybe I would advise myself to be a little more involved in each of them 10 years ago so that I'm a little advanced now. But yeah, it's never too late, right? So we can always start and make sure that we are acquainted with each of these. This is where the industry is headed in the next 5 years.
Uh, so, with this advice, I would like to wrap the session. But yes, I will definitely call you back, Arun. There is a lot to learn from you. I think we need another episode with you to learn other things with data and grow solutions. But yeah, for today, thank you so much, Arun, for joining us and share your knowledge with us and our audience. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. And for the marketers, I think it's just about making sure our customers have a better experience with us. That's the single point of contact focus. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.